You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So I have a confession to make to you, my lovely friends.
I can't wait.
I have officially run out of anecdotes. I haven't done anything in so long that I have nothing to share. I have nothing, no crazy thing that happened to me, no wild restaurant that I just visited, no plans, no phone calls, no interesting, nothing at all has happened to me probably in the last month.
Well, so here's like, I am with you in a sort of similar boat, in that like not a lot, like, I mean, like, yes, there's always like work stuff going on and there's always like interesting, sort of vaguely interesting things happening. But I actually had to sit and reflect on a few things because like it's year end time. So like that's like a kind of a big deal. And, you know, as you all know, in like music writing and media. And I had to reflect on like what the year has like been like. And I realized that like one of the high points of 2020 for me, and to be fair, I've had some good stuff happen. However, like in terms of like an actual sort of like event of something new entering my life was my new vacuum. Like, and I was just like, wow, how have I reached this point where my new vacuum, in all honesty, was one of the great things of 2020.
Do you think vacuum sales are way up this year because everyone's spending more time at home?
And making filth, I guess, or something?
All cleaning products, all like sort of home stuff. Like that's why like home repair has gone wild, like through the roof, you know, pun intended. Yeah, it's just like, it's super wild.
The best I can do now for people is I saw this tweet and I'll tell somebody a tweet I saw. Like it's somehow my anecdote. Like somehow I...
like you experienced it?
Or a meme or something, right? Like that's the best that I can do is to send somebody an amusing meme that sums up the I don't know, the ennui we're all feeling.
I don't have an anecdote, but I did have a sort of topic that I wanted to ask you about, both of you. But are there people in your lives that you just, like you would see on a regular basis because you see them at work or whatever, that you just like haven't contacted or seen and won't for a year? Because we've been told that you know, like we're not probably getting back into the building until July earliest.
July now?
Yeah. Oh. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like there's some people that I used to come across almost on a daily basis in my work routine of going to and from work that I haven't seen. And I won't have seen them for over a year by the time we go back to work. And is that going to be weird?
Yes. But
probably because there is going to be, I mean, hopefully it's both sides, but if you haven't reached out and they haven't reached out.
Yes.
There's a good indication that neither of you really care that much. And so there's going to have to be that hill to be mounted, I think. Yeah.
But I think it is like really clarifying on some ruthless level that like certain people really are your work friends and that's it. And they don't, you know, sort of like transgress across the planes, as it were. And I'm really quite okay with that. Like like you know, I mean, as we
I was observing with a friend of mine that from work saying I might never go out for drinks after work. Like that might never happen again.
I think it'll happen again. Don't worry.
I don't think it will.
Why?
I just don't have an interest. Like I've lived without it. I don't. I haven't really missed.
But there's a difference, I think, in like the absence of something by force versus once you are sort of in a different routine outside of your home, how you might fall into sort of like some old behaviors.
Yeah. I think I've lost, like I I haven't done up a pair of pants in a very long time.
Well, I mean, we're not talking about your dexterity and your fingers.
No, but I'm just saying, like, the things that have kind of...
I don't even know if my feet will go back into like leather shoes anymore.
I don't know. I have like, sometimes I'm out walking and I look at myself going, did I just walk out of the house in this? Like, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, and then the second thought is, who cares?
And who cares? Yeah, that's the next thought. The next thought is that. But I've done that.
These are radical acts of freedom. This is
No,
is
I agree
okay.
with you.
Yeah,
that's why I say I'm never going for drinks at work. Like, those were not. On a rare time they were like a great idea. Rare.
Okay, that I think is totally fair. Like the forced fun at work is probably like over. People are going to be better, maybe, I hope, at saying no to things they don't want to participate in, like in the future, and that's like kind of exciting.
No, like that.
Exactly. Obviously, we'll also have like a bunch of sort of like, you know, mild agoraphobia to sort of like deal with on a general basis, like. A bunch of people who have not left their homes in a very long time, other than for very specific sort of like survival basics. A recalibration to sort of like some kind of like, you know, nightlife scenario is going to be weird.
Nightlife? What's that again?
I can't imagine. Like,
this is my nightlife, by the way. Us recording at 8:00.
But so when you both think of the holiday season and how, you know, we're not going to go to any holiday parties this year, like what are your feelings about that? Do you feel sad or do you feel
so I do. I'll admit to saying I really love Christmas. I love our dinner.
Yes.
That is a treat that we always have. We exchange presents. We go at a nice restaurant. We have such a good time.
Yep.
Was it last year that we went to a movie?
Sure did.
Yeah, the Gaslight movie.
Yep.
And potlucks, like I love potlucks to distraction. Like it's my most favorite thing. So all I'm thinking now is just getting out some Corningware and melting cheese in it.
That sounds delicious. I mean, normally every year we host a cookie party, and I believe you've both been to that at various times. And so this year, like, and Christmas is like kind of a big deal in our house. Like we really love it, and we love celebrating it with people, and we love doing things. So we've already found a couple of workarounds. This year, we just picked up this morning a very small potted fresh tree, which is like a first time for us. Like we've only ever used this like fake tree we bought at Fields in Kamloops. Like,
isn't it still in your house all the time though, that tree?
Yeah, Carlos did take it down mid like May earlier this year. It had been up for 2.5 years.
I felt like I was gonna say.
No, it had been up for 2.5 years, but he got like. He really loves decorating it every year, so he got sad that he couldn't decorate it. So he took it all down so that we could put it back up. But then we got a live tree, so that's exciting. No, but like, so our cookie party, what we have planned is Carlos has like a week and a half off in December. And tonight actually, I'm making a list of all the people that we are going to personally bring cookies to and leave them on. I guess
it's your naughty and nice list, right?
Yeah, it's our naughty and nice list. We don't know. I haven't told you which people get cookies. Ooh. It's all my favorite naughties.
Okay, that's right. Yes.
It's like people you haven't talked to for most of this year. You're just going to show up on their doorstep.
Just drop a cookie. I know that like hopefully in a couple weeks we'll be allowed to sort of like have like inessential like opportunities to leave the house. Not that we're going to see anyone. We're just going to drop them off at people's doors, but we want to like respect, you know, the situation we're in. But yeah, Carlos is going to make all the cookies. We're going to like package them up and we're going to bring them door to door to people's homes. And then
like a cookie Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. And then I can also drop off some people like you guys, like I can drop off your individual Christmas presents as well with your cookie package.
Yeah. All right. Like, well, see, now I'm in to the holiday.
Yeah. So like, I think like, I don't know, we're trying really hard to make it special, but not like super commercial. Cause like, it's just too, I don't know. Everything's too like sort of precarious this year, but we're like after we're done recording this, we're gonna eat an edible and watch The Night Before, which is a great Christmas tradition that we do every year. It's the Seth Rogen Christmas movie that's really fun. And I've been listening to Christmas music since like early November. So we're in. We're like,
well,
in.
Maybe I'll just like have an Ativan and watch the holidays. So let's just get
you
right
totally
in.
should.
No.
That is the Nancy Myers way. Have half an Ativan.
It totally is.
Have
it's
half
the
an
most
Ativan and
white
a glass
middle
of
class
Chardonnay.
woman drug. Hey, I'll
That's
just
perfect.
take an
It's
Ativan and check out.
It's perfect. An Ativan,
Yeah.
a half glass of Chardonnay. So good.
Might as well just. I'm Diane Keaton.
See, this is
The transformation is complete.
It's like you're twirling on the top of a mountain.
It did. Oh.
Oh. I like it when I really note my transitions.
Yeah, that was good.
My segues. I like it when I stomp on them real hard. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And this is Pop This. Welcome.
And this is just to give everyone a heads up. There is about to be some information revealed that may shock you. It may stop you in your tracks. You may actually rewind to make sure that you actually heard correctly.
If they've listened to the show at any point in the last 5 years,
yes.
I wish I had like a record scratch I could play as a sound effect right now.
Yeah. Or a little montage of all the times you've said it and we've all gone, what?
It's like new information every time. Like you guys are so disappointed in me that you can't hold it in your soul.
Well, it's over. Now you're part of the cognoscente now. So
I am so thrilled. So can I just say that tonight's episode about the sound of music is maybe the most excited I've been for any episode of Pop This ever. And I am so thrilled to finally have watched this film for the first time in my 41 years on this earth and to then talk about it with all of you.
It's very odd to me. This is like you're just saying, and today I tried chocolate. And I just want to let everyone know it's good. It's really like the whole hype thing, fair. Chocolate's good.
What percentage of people over 40 do you think haven't seen Sound of Music ever in their lives that live in Canada?
So when I watched it last night, I ended up just accidentally kind of live tweeting it, my experiences of it. And I had a few who were like, wow, I thought I was the only one. Thank you so much. And so there are a few of us who, and probably they still haven't seen it because I don't know what their access to Disney Plus is. But I know I'm not alone.
I'm sure they've got a DVD kicking around. That thing is like, been around forever. So
my family has like 4 DVDs.
Yeah, and probably some VHS copies. Or wait a second, I could just act the whole thing out for you. I don't even...
Exactly.
Well, okay, I would just like to be clear that upon watching it, I realized that I knew almost all of the music.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just didn't have context for it.
It's very odd because you often sing Edelweiss, and I've always thought it's so strange.
Did you think it was weird how I sung it punk though? Like I didn't know that it was.
I could see that you didn't know where it came from.
But can we just put this into context? Like you're a huge fan of musicals and write and review live theater.
Well, I did for a long.
Who doesn't love Julie Andrews? I mean.
I was always a little lukewarm on Julie. I have to. I know. I'm so sorry, guys. I know.
Wow.
This is just a lot of bombshells.
Is that the first
tonight.
time anyone has ever uttered those words?
I just always sensed that she really didn't like fat people, and I think that I could probably.
I never knew that.
If I want, no, I don't know if she does or not. I had a feeling. And I refused to research it because I also now enjoy Mary Poppins. I didn't like Mary Poppins much as a kid either. And then watching it when I got older, I actually, I think, again, for this podcast, I really quite enjoyed it. I've also never seen Victor Victoria, that other
That's
famous
where I've
movie.
seen that. But
Yeah,
okay,
that's
whatever.
but I mean, there's so many musicals, and I love musicals, but you know,
Wasn't
I've
she
not
in like Camelot or something?
But
Was that
this
her
is
first
like
one?
this is the biggest
Possibly, yeah.
musical.
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't seen them all, and this is the other thing that's so funny. So I've always sort of declined to review Sound of Music. I always, like, whenever it was offered to me, I was always like, nah. And so
Why?
I would make someone else go, you know, I just never had an interest. I always thought that it was like just this family friendly nonsense sort of doe a deer. Like, how stupid. What a I wasn't
Did you
that
know
impressed.
about the World War II theme?
No,
Did you-
so that's the other thing. I didn't
Oh,
realize that this was
okay.
like early Antifa, and I
Yes.
didn't I didn't
Yes.
know that, like,
That's why they fled Austria?
no, I didn't know anything really about like what its whole purpose was. Like, I just
But did
was
you not
able
have
to
a
stay
TV
clueless.
growing up?
Oh, I had a TV for sure.
How did you not have somebody that took some time out and brought you to a movie theater? God damn
Because
it.
it was on like CBC TV, I'm pretty sure, like most holiday seasons.
And every
Yeah.
like
For
in White
most of
Rock,
the
it always
80s.
played at the movie theater, like at Christmas.
But
always.
that's the thing. Like, it's a 3-hour film. I was never gonna sit down for that when I was a kid.
They
Like,
have an
that was not-
intermission when they show it in the.
Oh, you don't watch the entire thing end to end. Like
No.
it's
Pace
just
yourself.
always on. It's just on the TV while you're doing Christmas.
Nope, not in our house.
I am not even kidding you if I say I've probably seen it 20 times.
Me
Somehow.
too.
Yeah,
I totally
at least.
believe you guys. Like, I mean, like, I think there were just other things that we watched. Like, Grandma watched it with us last night, and she was just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, she wasn't a huge fan, and I think she really sort of shepherded a lot of our television watching. Like, when we were like, that's why I've seen Meet Me in St. Louis a billion times, but I've never seen Sound of Music. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen Babes in Toyland several times, but I've never seen The Sound of Music. Like, there's just,
You sound like you're doing that 70s song, but I've never been to me.
but I like, what a joy.
Whoa.
to
Okay, wait
watch
this
it last
down.
night.
This is your review of The Sound of Music.
No.
It's good. It's
Yeah, my review of The Sound of Music is fine. Y'all are
Oh.
right. I had a
Andrea
really
Warner
time.
gives it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. 2
In case you're on the
enthusiastic thumbs
fence.
up.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, like, I loved
And
it
7
so
Von
much.
Trapp family singers.
If someone had just presented it to me as this is like a family band that comes together through a love of music and that's how they're saved, I would have watched this movie a long time ago.
They put it in the title there, right there for you.
It says The Sound of Music.
Yeah, The Sound of Music. It's
It
right
doesn't
there.
tell me that it's like the Von Trapp's family singers. I always thought
Did you
that
see
was
the
like a
album
weird-
cover with all those children?
I always thought it was a joke. Like, I literally just,
What?
I
Why
Joke about
would you
what?
think it's a joke?
I thought it was like maybe like a kid's album when I was little, and I was just like not really into kids music that much except the mini pops. And I like, look, I'm just telling you where I'm at. This has been my journey to this moment. But like, I'm here now. And
Okay, so tell us how it feels to have watched this movie for the first time.
it feels so good. I loved it in a way that I was not prepared. I was like, just when it starts out with like nuns just like cruelly making fun of this like young woman. Like, some are super defensive of her, some are so mean. Like, what are her great sins? Like, she's late for dinner, and she's never late for dinner, but she's always late for prayer. Like, okay, so girl likes to eat. That's the biggest problem you've got with this woman. Like, one describes her as a demon, one describes her as a lamb. Like, I just thought, like, wow, it starts with nuns being shady. This is going to be amazing.
Well, you have to segue into how do you solve a problem like Maria, which, can I just say, was a very odd choice of the music they played at her wedding.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So
I know.
So when the wedding starts and it's this like, it's just this wild, I've never seen a wedding like this, except the only thing I could think of is like Princess Diana watched this all the time. And this is how the royal wedding ended up looking exactly like The Sound of Music royal wedding. Like, except you are like all the nuns who excommunicated you and told you to go to this man's home are going to sing their like mocking salute to your whimsy. But that's the other thing. Like this is like the extremes, the wild extremes. Like, I thought it was really interesting how Rodgers and Hammerstein wanted to, or I don't know if they wanted to, but this is what they did. They like showed that nuns are human people. They weren't pretending nuns were like these amazing ethereal beings, and they weren't pretending they were just like this like cruel subsect of like mean women. Like, they were just like, all of these nuns are just like basic women who are human beings, and some of them are really nice and some of them are pretty judgmental, and this is a scope of society in like a habit. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really cool. So that's where I started. And then I continued to fall in love.
Did you find it an enchanting film?
I did find it an enchanting film. Like, I couldn't, like, it was filmed so beautifully. I even the line of like how do you what was it? How do you catch a moonbeam in your hand or whatever? Like,
we're not allowed
like,
to sing, right?
That's lovely. Like, that's like, I mean, like, one nun describes her as a demon, but most of them end up on this sort of like thing where she's just like, she's just a moonbeam. She's like the original manic pixie girl, you know? And it's like, but like, she still is allowed agency. And I thought, anyway, yeah.
Well, they knew ahead of time that she wasn't going to make it as a nun.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't have the
right from the opening notes of the movie.
But I love that. Like, and I also do think, like, just because you think you want something doesn't mean it's actually what you need. And I like it when...
Well, wait, I don't know. Okay, if there is something I'm forgetting after this many times seeing it, I didn't get... How did Maria end up at the nunnery? Was she an orphan? Was that explained or something? Or, like, what was...
It's never really explained.
Yeah,
except
okay, I
that,
didn't
like,
think so,
she, like, grew up, like, hearing them sing and, like, exploring the hills. And, like... This is what she always wanted. Yeah, so this is just where she ends up.
Right.
But, like, we don't get a lot of information about her background, at least to my knowledge.
Yeah, I was pretty sure.
Have you guys ever read the book?
No.
Me neither, but I was thinking about this too.
I don't know anyone who's read the book.
Yeah.
I heard from a few on Twitter last night.
Oh, really?
Who recommended it. But, like, I thought this was kind of, because, okay, so... I know that we're not doing like our gothic horror month anymore, but like when we first meet the captain, he's got real like gothic horror leading man vibes. Like, he's so mean to her.
In the book or in the movie?
In the movie.
Oh.
Like, he's mean to her, and he's like telling her that she is like wearing a terrible dress, and like he's a real like, you know, crap weasel. And I don't really enjoy like his behavior at first. And that was like, I was making notes to myself about like, oh God, it feels like the beginning of Rebecca. And this is like, where is this going? And then like she's like so unfazed by his behavior and just like throws it right back at him. And like, she's just like, no, whistles are for dogs, not people. And like, she's like really clear about her boundaries right away. I thought that was really fascinating. I just like, I loved that. And then I was so uncomfortable when he started being flirty with the Baroness. And I was just like, Georg flirts? What is happening?
Can I just say that, I mean, I was looking at the outline and I think you wrote a question in there about like, how has the movie changed for you over the years?
Yeah.
And I would have to say that that's one of the things, like as a kid and then seeing it and then young adult and older adult, I would say as the years progress, I'm a lot more on the Baroness von Schrader side.
Well,
totally. Yeah.
Like, at the first you're like, oh, get her out of the way. Because the intermission, if you go and see it in the theater, which the first time I did, my parents took us to the movie theater to see it, which was quite fun, is when Maria leaves, right? Because the Baroness has said, I think he likes you. And she grabs her hat and her guitar and goes up those stairs. And then that's the intermission. And I was just like, no, you know, like I was so upset. And now I'm all like, Baroness. She
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah. So like,
Lisa just mimed smoking a cigarette for those of you listening to the podcast.
And Max totally understood the situation as well.
totally. Max is very funny. Well, that's the other
Yeah.
thing. I was just like, I don't hate the Baroness. Like, I mean, I don't like that she's like pretty casual about her Nazi friends. That's not okay. But like in terms of sort of like her seeing Maria as like competition for this man and doing what she can to sort
And
of
this
like
was a good setup for her. Farm those kids out to boarding school, right? They are
Yeah.
handsome man who will be at sea most of the time.
Well, yeah,
It's
it
just
is
going to
just
be
like
her and Max having cocktails out there on the deck, right? I mean,
this
that's...
is well, and I mean, this is an early example of like dad falls for the young nanny.
Yes, it is.
In the-
Which seems charming in this movie. And when Jude Law does it, not so great, right?
well, yeah, or Gavin Ross, any of those that have
Yeah.
like done it. Well, that's okay. So that takes me back to like the book thing, which is what I was interested about, is whether either of you had read it, because like the book is entirely Maria von Trapp's memoir.
Mm.
It's like her account of everything, in the same way that like oh my god, the one where like we were talking about women as not women but like people as unreliable narrators, and like the women in the Gothic
Rebecca?
not Rebecca, but the other one we watched, we're just like no one's worrying about the wife that's in the in the prison.
Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Jane Eyre is an unreliable narrator. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like, we don't know anything about this dead wife. Everyone's so eager to get these kids being like, hi, new mommy. Like, and they pivot on a dime between having to sort of like deal with accepting the Baroness to being like, Maria, hi, mommy, hi,
Yeah.
mommy. Like, anyway, I was just thinking about how Maria von Trapp is the one who wrote the memoir, and is she a reliable narrator?
I don't know. I wouldn't, my guess would have been the movie that we've watched is loosely based. I don't know.
It is very
Yeah.
loosely.
Loose-
There were 10
very
kids.
loosely based.
Yeah, there were 10 kids apparently.
Okay.
And like, the captain, I think, is like older.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that sort of paradigm is not quite as charming when you think about how there was the guy had to figure out how he was going to marry again because he had a bunch of children and he certainly needed help taking care of them. I mean, that's a very
God.
common, especially with women dying in childbirth all the time, right? Like that.
Mhm.
So you got to find someone else. But in the movie, it feels so romantic.
It feels so romantic. Apparently, the real life Maria did say, quote, like, I didn't actually love the captain at first. I loved the children. It was like I was marrying the children. Direct quote.
Yeah, that, I can see that.
But I mean, I don't know that I need to have The Sound of Music be true to the actual Von Trapp story.
Oh, no.
Because
No.
I never realized there was a real family until I was an adult.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
A Sound of
wow.
Music was always just a drama to me, as far as I was concerned.
That's
Growing up, watching
fascinating.
it 20 times. Like, I never,
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't, it wasn't a well-known fact. I don't think that it was like the Von Trapps. I don't know. At least as a child, I never heard about it. The Von Trapps were a real family.
I didn't, and I think the only reason I sort of thought it was a true story was just because of the element of the war that creeped in by the last quarter, I guess. That's when things turn really dark, and I think
Mhm.
that's when it feels more like a true story there, like a real. The tone changes so fast.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like a couple of different. It's like two movies almost in there.
Well, it's always haunting the film. Like, I mean, they
Yes,
make like sort of
yes.
references to it. And I think it's actually like it's a really smart, powerful way to sort of illustrate how like creeping fascism can like sort of it's like there, and if you decide to just ignore it, which is what a lot of these people were doing, then suddenly it's right at your door and you are being signed up for like
Delivering
yeah.
a telegram to your daughter.
Yeah.
yeah. Hitler Youth are delivering a telegram to your daughter and like dancing in a sort of like wet ballroom
Gazebo.
gazebo. Thank you.
Yeah,
I've never seen a glass gazebo quite like that before.
he's a very rich man.
Well, but like a glass
That's
gazebo.
always what I thought a gazebo looked like, because I've seen this movie 100 times.
Yeah.
I Love, love, love. I could not get over the line. Oh my God. Your life, little girl, is an empty page men will want to write on.
To write on.
I almost spat out my drink when that line came out of it. I didn't know that line.
Rolf is the worst.
But well, he's the worst, but like that line is so smart in terms of like just really accurately capturing the just like the sort of like grossness of men and like specifically like misogynist sexist men who like just, you know, what we were sort of I guess something we were talking about before we started recording, but just like in terms of like, you know, that sort of like a lot of men having that sort of fascination with like young
but he's
girls.
only 17.
Yeah, he's
and
only
she's
17,
16,
but
so
he's still
that's the
warning
song
her.
title.
But he's
I'm
still
just saying
warning
that-
her about like
no,
the
I'm just saying it's
future.
not the same thing as what you're saying. Like I don't think his frame of reference in terms of her being young is quite the same as if he was like 40.
No, I think he's trying to tell her that he is a man of the world, and he wants to warn her that other men are bad, but he's good. Like, I feel like that's the sort of framing that
I don't think you
has
saw
with
this
song.
at the right time. I think you should have seen this when you were a child. Because
saw
I think
this at
you're
the
bringing in
perfect
all
time.
kinds
You're a
of things.
little too jaded now
Little too
to
jaded.
truly appreciate this
This
movie.
is a 17-year-old sheltered boy in Salzburg, Austria, who is talking to a 16-year-old girl, and he's just saying nonsense.
No, it's written by 60-year-old men who are conveying like particular social norms in the 50s and 60s who have put them in the mouths of 16 and 17-year-old people. So, I mean, there's a reason that like you, even at that time, like it was sort of like a bit frowned upon to sort of like show girls having sort of sexual agency in, you know, they wanted to tame down the sexual agency, but like Liesl wants some. Like she super wants to make out with this boy, and I love that. And I feel like this, like I feel like The Sound of Music acknowledges that and like gives her the space to have it, but couches it in these terms so that it can be generally acceptable to the rest of the public. Like there is a reason this film was so popular and like in the theaters for 4.5 years. 4.5 years upon release. Like that's a wild amount of time and like huge at the box office. And like, but it was still super subversive and like super cool. And like, I mean, there's lots of layers.
Mm-hmm.
And a Christmas movie, even though it has nothing to do with Christmas.
Nothing Christmassy happens at all.
That's okay.
But I was reading a bit about why that was. And it's, from what I can tell, just people who program TV wanted to put family movies on that the whole family could sit down and watch at Christmas that were long. And that everybody
made National Lampoon's Vacation Christmas
that everybody could agree on and everybody liked.
Yeah.
And so that's why everywhere around the world, like Sound of Music gets played on the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think like this movie has like so many sort of radical ideas under, like, I mean, it is like very specifically like anti-Nazi. I heard from a lot of people on Twitter last night that like, especially from like queer women, that like The Sound of Music was their sort of queer awakening. Like Julie Andrews.
Really?
Yeah. Like that was like a real thing. And I found this great book that talks about the queerness of solving a problem like Maria. And like it's an entire book from like, I think it's like Duke University. And it's I can't wait to read it. I like got the PDF of it last night. But I think there is a lot of stuff happening in this movie that I just didn't personally know because I had never watched it.
Well, that would make sense, yes.
Yeah. But it felt so interesting to watch it, and I loved it
have
so
a lot
much.
of things come together for you now. Like
It
you understand
really-
some cultural
When
references.
people say high on the hill, it was a lonely goat herd. Do you know what they mean now?
I finally do.
You
Honestly, when
finally
the
do.
puppets
You
came
thought
out,
you were looking for a goat herd up there? And
well, I thought that there was just some sort of like goat, you know, screwing joke that I was missing out on or whatever. Like, you know, just the way that
Yeah.
so many people
Well, and
joke
can-
about goat herders.
Can I just say, puppeteering is hard.
yeah.
Like, those children doing that, it would have taken a lot because I had a puppet set when I was a kid that was like a stage with a set of marionettes. And like to not get them all tangled up all the time when you're trying to do something is impossible if you're a kid.
Yeah.
Like I could see adults being able to manipulate it because you have bigger hands and stuff. But as a kid, it was just a complete
Wow. Okay, I
disaster.
did not overthink that scene. I did not. I was not watching that.
No,
thinking,
I
could
mean,
these children really pull off a puppeteer
that is my
role?
favorite. Is my favorite scene in the movie, and I always like wanted to become a good puppeteer, but I just want to note that it's really difficult and it's not as easy as they make it look.
I was floored by that scene because I do know how hard it is, and I was just like, I mean, I wrote down like,
I had no idea you two knew so much about puppeteers.
Oh my god, I love puppeteering. I just like, I wish.
I mean, I
that
love
could
saying
do it.
puppeteer, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I asked actually a long time ago. I did an interview with Feist, and I said, if you weren't a singer musician, what would you be? And she said puppeteer.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was such a calling.
Lisa, what's your favorite scene?
I do find the scene where Maria and Captain Von Trapp kind of admit their love in the gazebo as well.
Yeah.
To be just about one of the most romantic scenes in the movie. Just because there's sort of that tension and they're not sure. And it's just, I thought it was just really lovely. I thought they had I think in listening to them interview, they liked each other quite a bit, like, you know, but I think they had some really good chemistry in the movie. I think it was like, I don't think it would have been as good a movie without it.
And both of them have had such long careers. Like they're both still appearing in movies currently.
True. I mean, when did Christopher Plummer won an Oscar? Like just 5 years ago?
Well, he was just in Knives Out.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yes.
Oh, I love that movie so much. Did you guys see both of them?
And then like Julie Andrews was just in, like, she did a voice in Aquaman.
Right. She should be in the new, because they're going to make a Knives Out too. Obviously, Christopher Plummer can't be in that, but
they could do a prequel. He was so good in Beginners. Did you see Beginners?
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh my
God,
I love that too.
He won the Oscar.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think he's. I mean, I think he's. Every time he shows up in a movie, it's good.
Yeah, I love it so much. When they are having that sort of moment where they fall in love, I love the way he tells her that he knew he loved her when she almost sat on that pine cone.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how much I melted. I was just like a real puddle. It was ridiculous.
So what's your favorite scene?
Ooh, that is tough because now I literally love almost every minute of it.
Wow, I just like I'm still
this is
like,
so
my
crazy.
mind
You could have been
blown.
watching it like over and over again.
I just wasn't really sure which way this would go when you
That's
were going to
true.
watch it because your other favorite musicals are totally different than Sound of Music.
I mean, I have like a pretty wide variety of musicals that I love. There are a few I super hate, but I think that this is very well done. I don't think all the songs are fantastic, but what I like about the songs is the way that they reuse the songs in different contexts throughout the film. And I think that's such a smart thing to do. Like instead of adding and padding a bunch of kind of like half-ass songs, when you can like take songs that you like know are sort of like pretty good that you've already written and then present them in new and interesting ways later on in the film, I think that that's genius. And I do think that it's very clearly a movie that was based on a musical that had already been on Broadway. And that had, I know that it's not exactly the same, like the transference is not exactly the same, but the way that it's filmed, all the setups are very theatrical. Like I just, you can feel set after set after set, like sort of moving sort of in and out of focus. And it's such a beautiful looking movie.
So I was just going to say something about one of the songs, Edelweiss.
Edelweiss, yeah.
Isn't it like, can we sing now? Isn't it like creative? Like
no, the movie's owned by Disney.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get sued if we sing Disney songs. Yeah.
But Edelweiss is like, I always thought growing up it was a real Austrian song. And because like everybody in the movie, like the audience sings it.
Oh, and they
with
all
it.
sing along to it.
Yeah, and I was just reading about it recently, and it's like, no, it was just written for the movie to sound like a folk song from like an Austrian folk
That's a good
song.
job, because I really did.
I know.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job. Like, I mean, and that was the last song that he wrote. Hammerstein died from stomach cancer. And the last song he wrote was Edelweiss. And
apparently because of this movie, a lot of the English speaking world thinks it's like a traditional Austrian song.
That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite scene. I think I'd have to watch it a second time, but I probably won't this year. But next year I'll be able to weigh in on it. But I really, honestly, like just seeing it for the first time, like at this point in my life, this year.
I like the scene too. I like the just the way that it's a long movie. We've discussed the 3 hours. But getting into the characters. Yeah. But when Liesl
imagine it with commercials on Christmas.
It doesn't end. It's your whole night. But when Ralph and Liesl have their little tryst out in the gazebo, and then Liesl's all soaking wet and she climbs in the window.
Yes.
Into Maria's window, and she, takes her, says, "I won't say anything," and then we go into the Raindrops on Roses song and stuff. I love that song. I think that's a really charming scene too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the context for some of the songs, like I might not have enjoyed the songs. Like I had to do a lot of songs like from this movie in like different bands and choirs in like school growing up, and I didn't have the context for the songs. So now seeing them within the place of the movie, I like have a much deeper appreciation for why those songs are so good.
Yeah.
Before I was just like, this is fine, but this is so dumb.
But you know what? It's interesting too. I think the Sound of Music is also works in that, because sometimes that is an awkward transition in musicals, right? Where all of a sudden you break into song.
Yeah.
But literally this is a movie about like a woman bringing music to this family that had been very sad for so long.
Yeah.
And so when
exactly.
the songs come in, they make sense. Like it's not about just like telling the story. It's a song.
Yeah.
Like when she teaches them how to do the notes with the do, re, mi, like there's a purpose to all the songs. They're all like doing something. Whereas sometimes you watch a musical and it's always a little bit like, why is this a song? Like this doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly. Sorry,
can you believe also too that is Julie Andrews made her film debut in Mary Poppins the year before, and then this was her second movie.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That just
well, she's quite young. Like she's like 2 or 21 in this or something.
Let's see. Born in 1935.
Oh, she's 2 years younger than my grandma.
And then Sound of Music was 65.
Okay. Wow.
Christopher Plummer, he apparently like kind of hated the movie for like a really long time because he found it like kind of cloying, but and he also used to call it S&M, the Sound of Mucus.
Oh.
And
wow.
He is quoted in a bunch of different places, but this specifically is from The Atlantic. I was a bit bored with the character. It was a bit like flogging a dead horse. And then Oprah had like a cast reunion on its like 35th anniversary or something. And he finally was like, okay, great. It's fine. Can you imagine being part of something that is this like broadly influential in pop culture that I literally know all the songs and have never seen the film? And there's an entire like tourism industry built on this film because I looked at the site for that place in
I went
Austria.
to Salzburg, but I did not do the tour.
You didn't do the tour.
I did not do the tour. I could walk around myself.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But so you know what's closer? I have this dream that all of us, when the borders open, go to Leavenworth, Washington.
Oh, yes. I would love
the German town. Because every summer they do a production of The Sound of Music in their open air theater. And Maria, apparently it starts with the with Maria coming down from like walking out of the mountains onto the stage.
Oh,
Amazing! That sounds
And
amazing.
yeah, and then we all can go to a beer garden in each schnitzel.
oh, something to look forward to.
I love this idea.
I have to say that the TV version, you know how they haven't done that in a while. They were doing a lot of those live musicals.
Oh yeah.
But Carrie Underwood as Maria von Trapp was not my favorite.
I was gonna ask how that was.
It's just about as what are you imagining?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot see Carrie Underwood.
It was not. No, that was not. I think
Like,
I'd rather seen, anyone, honestly.
Well, I listened to her Christmas album this year because I was putting together my new Christmas music list, and there was only one song that I found tolerable, and because everything
Carrie
else,
Underwood?
yeah, and I like Carrie Underwood. I don't dislike her, but I just find sometimes with certain singers, when they get around a Christmas song that has been sung by so many other people, they think they really need to put their stamp on it.
Oh Holy Night, that's the worst. Look
I
that
know.
up.
If
They
you can
cannot.
get a good version of
Oh
Oh
my
Holy
gosh.
Night,
Yeah.
what a treat that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In one of the articles you put in the outline with the AV Club one, they
Yeah.
talked about how Ariana Grande used a sort of what's it called, like a clip from "These Are a Few of My Favorite Things" for her.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's right. You have to pay them money. The
yeah, and so
royalties,
apparently,
yeah.
50% of that song's royalties go back to Sound of Music.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Disney, oh boy, I can't even imagine having to like tussle with Disney.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you do.
No, I don't want to.
No.
I just have a few more questions for both of you as people who have watched this movie 1,000 times.
The number keeps going up throughout this podcast.
I know.
It's all I've ever seen. It's the only movie
the
I've
only
ever
thing you've
watched
ever
in
seen.
my life. That's
You've been watching it
It's
just
constantly
in your
playing
eyeballs.
in my head right now.
No, I know.
Mhm.
What is your sort of like least favorite scene, and has that changed since you were younger?
I don't know if I've had a least. I mean, like I said, I was very alarmed as a kid for seeing it when she left.
Yep.
And I was so angry at the Baroness for being so cruel.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't understand what was going on. I was
Yeah.
a kid, right? I was just like,
Yeah.
that's mean, you know? So I didn't really, I mean, I think I felt like as a kid, I was very scared with that scene of the Nazis arriving and the nuns sabotaging the car. It's actually quite frightening. I found that scene.
I was terrified because I didn't know where it went. I was like, does this movie end with them being murdered?
And that
Because
scene where
it's Disney, it could.
where Rolf makes the turn, where Captain Von Trapp makes it's a really interesting, well-written scene where he says something about you're just a boy or something.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's a total like macho like.
And it's it's almost like a explanatory of how that whole Nazi movement in Hitler Youth, like up to that point, he was like, I'll help you. And then he says that. Right. And then it's the switch. I thought that was really fascinating.
I don't have any least favorite scenes in this film.
Yeah.
Everything's awesome.
Yeah. With you. Like, I didn't even suggest those were bad scenes. I just remember they weren't as happy.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're definitely not as happy. I thought it really was like so. It's so well done to make it so harrowing to have them hiding in the Abbey and like, you're not hiding terribly well. I thought they were gonna at least put them in a cellar or something, because like
Yeah.
you know what? Nuns got cellars because that's where they put the pregnant girls.
Yeah.
So not to get extra dark, but like, come on. They got a cellar or two. They could have put him in a catacomb.
Okay, you're going way where I don't know where we're going with this. Is the Sound of Music, okay? Can we just
this is the Sound of Music. It just deals with Nazis and that's dead mothers and
well, I don't remember that part.
Abandoned children who are treated like
Yeah, well, it all
army.
worked out. Baroness is gone. So,
I'm glad you didn't review this before
Yeah,
because
no
you
kidding.
make it sound very dark.
It is dark, guys, but
Well,
it's
it gets
great.
dark.
It's like a dark movie, but it's very good. It's like it just pretends to be not dark, but it's dark.
Well, I mean, there are some certain themes, but then we sing. You see, that's
Again,
the
I'm
tension
like-
release,
About like
tension
kitten
release.
whiskers and stuff.
But that's like why the
I
songs are
still
so
like brown
meaningful.
paper packages tied up in string, and I think
Who
it's from this movie.
doesn't?
It never occurred to me
Yeah,
in my
it's
whole
great.
life that I would like that I would even care.
But
about
that's why
that.
it's so powerful. Those songs are like hiding the anyway, it's fine. I love it. But this does not like, it's like naming something as dark but still like fun and wonderful is kind of my jam.
Do you
That's how I ruin things for you guys, and I'm sorry, but it doesn't ruin it
Because
for
to me, this movie, the feeling of this movie is about children running through the Alps,
Yeah.
having the time of their lives.
They're running with Nazis chasing them across the field.
No,
Only at
I
the
mean like
ends.
earlier in the movie.
Sure,
when
and
they're
that's
playing.
great. Like they are like staking a claim to like a renewed, but they are coming out of mourning for their mother and like
get a
years
new
of
one.
their
She's
father,
nice.
like
Yeah. Well,
just
all works
like
out.
it
Gotta have
does work
conflict.
out. It's
Gotta have conflict.
but like I'm not taking the joy away from it. I'm just saying like it's extra joyous because they are overcoming so many things.
Have you seen that ridiculous little bit of tape where everyone laughs so hard because when Maria tries to come back to the Abbey and the Mother Superior has that line and it sounds like she's swearing?
What did she say?
It's because she's got a very thick German accent. And it's just a tiny clip on YouTube, but she says, Maria, what is it you can't face?
Oh yeah.
Because of her accent.
Great. I love it.
You know what
I love it.
and
I do. I can fill in that particular gap. That's great.
Anyway.
That's really fun.
But I also think we should just give a final salute to Baroness von Schrader because she looks fabulous through the movie.
Right?
She's incredible looking.
She's probably like 35.
I know, and if you think of it like from her point of view, like McSweeney's wrote a really funny.
Good. There, I knew that would. Yeah.
Like how this is a few years ago about like her having to send her like cancellation of wedding notice out to Austrian aristocracy. Like, I was gonna get married, but I regret to tell you that I'm not because like he ran off with a 22-year-old nanny.
Yeah.
So
See, it's funny though. Okay, I will give you that, the darkness of that. But because when I was a kid, I didn't really think about that. And then as I got older, watching it more and more, I was all, oh, that was like right out of left field there for the Baroness, hey?
yeah, and it's like, you know, she has to sort of be like, you know, I know I live a fabulous life. I'm totally rich. I'm amazing. I have everything I could ever want, but he left me for this woman who writes songs about, kittens.
And it's just the way that the camera knows too to make her the villain.
Yeah.
And it's in like you said that, like this is a 60-year-old man writing songs, right? And so as a kid, or even, I don't know, when you watch it, you're just like the Baroness von Schrader. She's trying to wreck everything. And then you're like watching it now and you're like, she's like, Samantha Jones in Sex and the City or something. You're suddenly completely empathetic with who she is. She's this, like you said, together woman that has seen this very hot, super sexy man, but he has these kids, right? So we'll just,
Well, I think like the other thing that I like about her so much is that she is so much smarter than everybody in every room. Like she sees what's happening. She's able, like she has like an emotional intelligence that you don't really usually ascribe to people who are just wildly rich. And because I mostly think that it's unearned privilege that they have and not actual intelligence. But she's got smarts. And I love it. I love it so much because
and I like the way she hangs out with Max. I think Max is always trying to get them
they're having
singing.
Such a nice
and
time.
they're not pimping my kids out. Yeah,
but I mean,
are.
like, and also let's face it, she's not walking through the Alps to Switzerland with their kids.
Good points. That is, she's gone over to the dark side pretty fast.
Oh yeah, she's like entirely sympathetic to Nazis, or at least she thinks that like she does not see silence as violence, and she probably won't. So, I mean, I think she's a monster in that way, but I think like independent of that as a character, she's fascinating, and I actually really loved how they don't go out of their way to make her like diabolical or like cartoonishly evil. She's just a woman who wants to like marry this guy, and she's gonna do what she can to make sure that happens.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna read that McSweeney's piece for sure.
Yeah, you AG sent it to me last night, and one more person sent it to me last night, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I can't wait.
Yeah. But you know, just because I know we're heading in this direction, I will just start it off by saying The Sound of Music pops.
Yes, it does.
Newsflash.
And,
the greatest musical in the history of musicals pops.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I love it a lot. Is it the greatest musical in the history of musicals?
Well, I mean, in terms of success.
Oh, in terms of success, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enduringness.
It has endured. Yeah. I mean, I think of like The Wizard of Oz as sort of like also kind of like a epic, great musical, but different.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah. So we love to leave our episodes on something we recommend. Lisa, do you want to go first?
Sure. So this could be an old story to somebody, but I had a friend, my friend Bridget, who has actually been on this podcast before.
Yes.
The bridesmaid, Bridget Watson, sent me a comedy sketch last night. And I've watched it 4 times in a row, and I cannot stop laughing. And so this just came out, this was in April. It's a little 2-minute song from a comedian named Marsha Belsky. It is a song called 100 Tampons.
The astronaut one.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. It's so funny.
Andrea, do you know this one?
No.
Okay. So this is a true story. The very first female astronaut, although that's a weird expression and I know we shouldn't say it like that, but that's just how I have to say it. NASA thought Sally Ride needed 100 tampons because she was going up on the space station for a week. And they tied all of the tampons together by the string and gave them to her.
Can you imagine whose job it was to tie those tampons?
And so this song is probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard. You've heard it before then.
I heard it today actually several times.
Really? Why today? What happened?
It apparently it was huge on TikTok, but then someone released in like a more official version apparently.
Okay, because I got sent to me through Instagram yesterday.
Okay,
and that's
so maybe
how I was watching it.
Maybe the Insta, like I don't know, but someone released a more like sort of like official version or whatever. So, but yeah,
oh my God, you know what?
It's
the song's only like 2 minutes long too. It's but I have not laughed that hard, and that is such a good job. She does such a great job telling the story, getting actually pointing out that, hey everyone, these were actually supposed to be the smartest people on the planet. Yeah. And they couldn't even ask her like what you need.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't want to spoil the ending because the last line of the song is the best part.
It's very funny, and this is a great recommendation.
I just honestly, and you know what? If we do ever have to remind ourselves that there is a good way to get across a lesson with humor, boy, that is the perfect example.
Yeah. Because mine really feeds into that, I'm going to go next, if that's okay. Unless, AG, you have also
go for it.
A song. Okay. So I want to give a shout out to another friend of the podcast, Sarah Geisler, and she co-wrote this musical parody, a COVID parody of All I Want for Christmas Is You with her YVR pop choir. And it is so funny. It is like, it positions Santa as a super spreader. It has props. It talks about butts and toilet paper. It is a hilarious, there's so many props in it. It is genius funny. and she is hilarious, and her YVR Pop Choir team is hilarious. It just came out today, and like Dr. Bonnie Henry has already heard it and agreed that all she wants for Christmas is a vaccine as well. Anyway, it's a really funny song. It's great. I love it so much, and I want to encourage everyone to go listen to it. It's on YouTube. It's called All I Want for Christmas Is You, COVID Parody by YVR Pop Choir. And it already has like 1,500 views, and it just came out like a few hours ago.
Oh, fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so funny.
So my recommendation is the number 2 movie of 1965, which was Dr. Zhivago.
Oh.
It is my Christmas movie.
I've never seen that.
I watch it every Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with Christmas, much like The Sound of Music.
Except for it's in the Russian winter, which kind of looks Christmassy.
Exactly. It just happens in deep winter, in sort of like maybe like adjacent to Siberia in parts of the movie, and it just feels very cold and wintry to watch the movie, because there's one part where they have to go live in a house where it's all frosted over on the inside because it's so cold. Like I don't know, someone left a window open or something, but like their sort of vacation house is just like frozen on the inside, and they have to kind of light a fire and clear the snow off the desk and just make it work.
What a nightmare.
It's also over 3 hours. I think it's like 3.5 hours long. And it's got a nice long intermission with a sort of very nice piece of music that they play. And
it's asking a lot of us during the COVID times, because I find sometimes that even like a 3-minute video, I'm like, oh, this is dragging. You know,
but,
okay.
But I just think it's like a great sort of antidote to watching Christmas movies, because it is wintry, but it's nothing to do with Christmas.
Well, that's kind of what we're
perfect.
suggesting today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is entirely appropriate. So thank you so much, both of you, for like prompting me to watch Sound of Music with your
for the past 5 years
routine horror, and like just like sort of like you being ashamed of how I hadn't watched it. I appreciate it. It's so good. I love it so much.
It's lovely to have you on side now, though. That's the important thing. We're all together now on this.
But I don't know what we have left to be shocked about now, though.
I'll come up with something. Don't worry.
I've never eaten a pizza or something.
Oh, I mean,
I don't know.
Not that, but I mean, I'll come up with something.
Yes.
But thanks everyone for listening. You can hang out with us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. You could email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com. If you have ideas for things we should be thinking about for 2021, why not send them to us now? I love advanced planning, and I'm kind of a dork for it. And you could also rate and review us 5 stars on Twitter. Or no, iTunes, not Twitter.
iTunes. Thank you all again. Thanks to Andrea Gin for producing and coming in as our co-host, and also, you know, being right there with me on this Sound of Music journey. For me now.
I know. It feels like such a conclusion.
It's been a long and winding road for all of us, but now we're on the same journey.
We might want to say something like farewell.
Good night. Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Yeah.
I hate to go and leave this pretty side. Da, 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 da.
Let's stop before Disney comes out after us.
I'd like to stay, what is it, and try my first champagne.
Oh, yeah. That sounds nice. I would like that.
Bye.
Goodbye. Anyway, bye, everyone.
Bye.